For most people, the transition from the brilliant sunny days of summer to a frosty winter wonderland is quiet and passes almost unnoticed. However, such a subtle changing of the seasons is not the case for those in Crested Butte, who celebrate this yearly transition with a booming fall festival, Vinotok. In Crested Butte, the tradition of Vinotok began when the local elders with Slavic, German, Austrian, and British Celtic lineage began sharing their tales and traditions with the younger generations.
I talked them into helping me make a storytelling festival that would include a feast, dancing, drumming, and then I started to find out from their own traditions, their ethnic background, that there was a shared time of year, fall, and around the autumn equinox, when all peoples near the 40th parallel, where we are, celebrate the saying goodbye to the sun and hoping that he will return in the spring.
Today, Crested Butte locals celebrate Vinotok as the blending of many different cultures. The celebration began with Liar's Night. The community gathered in the warm interior of the Eldo to tell stories and take pleasure in the company of friends. Some spun tales that were old, some new, some evoked laughter and good-natured banter, while others brought to mind the sadder times, or of how life has drastically changed since ages old have passed. The stories told kept the community spirit alive and reminded them that though the winter may seem long with its short days and bitterly cold nights, summer will come again. On Friday, the community gathered again to celebrate the Harvest Festival Feast at the Community Arts Center. Local chefs prepared a feast of juicy turkey legs, sweet corn on the cob, succulent roast pig, a delicious apple crisp. Families and friends listened and danced to local musicians and followed the old adage of eat, drink, and be merry.
Look up and down that long lonesome road. Where all my friends have gone, little girl. Yeah, where all my friends have gone. Well, I only did love that one little girl.
Finally, as night fell, they gathered together around the warmth of the fire. On Saturday afternoon, the cast members assembled again to prepare for the height of the celebration, the mumming and the trial.
What you'll see are characters from mostly Celtic and British tradition, but we've changed it. We've brought the characters back to their most ancient roots.
Vinotok, of course, stems back, to nature and more pagan traditions, and I think the Harvest Mother really represents just the rebirthing of life and all nature, and that's pretty important for our existence.
I just get loved by everyone, and I love everyone, and I represent earth and love and sex and lust.
The grump is all the cares in town, and we burn them and let them go. Makes the green man stay alive, I think.
Have you met your client yet?
No, I haven't. It's poor representation on my part, but he's secreted away somewhere.
A few hours before dark, the mumming begins. These characters, along with the drummers, trumpeters, straw boys, and young men and women, chant and beat drums from restaurant to restaurant, spreading the essence and gaiety of the festival throughout the town. As night fell, the air was bracing, smelling of fall leaves and the changing of the seasons. Meanwhile, the excitement of what was to come drifted in waves of anticipation up and down Elk Avenue. By torchlight, the cast of Vinotok performed the traditional legend and held the trial of the Grump. Sir Hapless battled the Earth Dragon, and maidens danced and sang their stories. A magistrate with great theatrics amidst fairies and bright torches tried the Grump to determine his innocence or guilt. The jury, or those in the crowd, found him to be exceedingly guilty of his crimes and chanted their verdict as one. The Green Man then welcomed the Harvest Mother and revelers and led the grand procession to where the Grump would be sentenced to a fitting and fiery demise. The pounding of the drums rose to a mad frenzy as the Grump was engulfed in giant flames, and the smoke and ashes, still red with heat, rose on the night wind. On such a pristine fall night, one could easily imagine all the negativity and grumps of the past year simply vanishing into the cosmos, leaving nothing behind but joy and lighthearted celebration. As the grump burned and withered away into the flames, the light danced on the faces of those gathered around the fire. Faces of family and friends, neighbors and strangers, of children beaming in awe on the shoulders of parents. All were illuminated by the raging fire outside, but also by a shared inner light as well. In that flickering yellow-orange light, there was a closeness, a sense of community through a single connective thread, a shared delight, harmony, and hope for all that the future may bring.
Tonight's event was a hit, to say the least. Everyone's drunk, things are on fire, and people that I don't even know are giving me kisses. What more can one man ask for?
Really, what could he ask for?
One more kiss, that's what.